Down, down the road, down the witch's road. So hey world, welcome to my channel and welcome to Agatha All Along, episodes 1 and 2, review and commentary and theories in the making, a lot of stuff. But yeah, I just had to come and comment on the show. The last show that I did the reviews for was The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. I don't usually do show reactions. It's gonna take a lot. It takes a lot to edit and to put it on YouTube, and my audience is not for shows. Maybe in the future if I get another audience, but that would mean that I have to I would totally create a new channel for show reactions and the reviews and whatever. But for now, I will just do the reviews. And yeah, we're here to talk about the show. So, if y'all want, show reactions, then, I guess the best way would be to create a new channel, because then it would just be on that specific channel, and then maybe other people that want to watch the show can subscribe to that channel and only get the show content, and not the other content, whatever. But it's something to think about. We'll have to create the other channel, have to get some subscribers in there, and then we could do more stuff. But yeah, for now, let's go with the review. I pointed out some stuff because after I watched the episode, I did went to watch reactions, as I usually do. And so I wrote some questions and some things that I wanted to talk about in the episodes. I took advantage in a way of the reactions, and as I was watching a reaction to the first episode, I wrote the questions or my notes in order as the episode goes, and then episode 2 the same. So as the episode goes, I wrote some questions that of things that were happening in the episode, and they're kind of in order of how the episode goes. That way it's easier for me to follow. So yeah, let's start with episode 1. And let me just say, I love the show. You don't understand. Not only did I watch the reactions, but I watched the episode 3 times, 2 to 3 times, both episodes. There were so many good things. I just couldn't help myself but watch 50 million times. And then, watching the reactions, you're watching it again. And so, love. And then watching a lot of times helps me with the reviews. So, because then it's fresh on my mind. Because, instead of just watching one time and then commenting on it. No, I literally watch more than 10 times at this point. So, so the episode starts with, in that world, that detective world. And my first question was, if Agatha was playing the nosy neighbor role, that's what Wanda gave to her, then why did it change to the detective role? And so later in the episode, we do figure it out that they were humoring her. So the neighborhood. So Agatha was under the spell, but the neighborhood was humoring her in a way. But they didn't tell her she was under the spell. I did think that was weird. Because when she's released from the spell, she goes to the neighbor and she's like, oh, so I've been saying nonsense and y'all just been humoring me and going along with it? And they said yes. And I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you not tell her she's on the spell? I'm confused. And then, yeah, he did say that lately she's been bit by the true crime bug. So that's gotta be Wanda. You know what I mean? Because, okay, Wanda died, right? She died. But that didn't affect the spell. Because it's not because Wanda died. Usually when a witch dies, if she has a spell, that spell is gone, because the witch that was bounding the spell is gone. But the spell wasn't lifted after Wanda supposedly died, so that means that Wanda is not actually dead. But we know that. But that's not the point. The point is that it wouldn't affect the spell So Wanda, Agatha should still be playing the nosy neighbor. You know what I mean? Why did it change to the true crime? Why did she found a body? Why was she like investigating? That's what I thought it was weird because she was supposed to be playing the nosy neighbor. So how is she a detective? How did she just become a detective? But it was because Wanda died, and I feel like Wanda did that on purpose. Like, putting the fake body there so that Agatha was kind of aware that Wanda died, but Wanda couldn't lift the spell, so she sent someone to lift the spell. You know what I mean? Because she would be playing the nosy neighbor, but then she's a detective. But no, like the guy said, lately she's been bit by the true crime bug. So it was like a recent thing. It was probably after Wanda died. And so that was like Wanda sending a signal, and that like changed Agatha's spell because she became a detective. So Wanda could affect the spell and send some signals, but couldn't actually lift the spell or ask Agatha for help. So she found a new way to, get out Agatha to help. Then the second question is it's basically all questions. That was because I had a lot of doubts, and a lot of theories, and I love theorizing. So the second was, why did no one tell her she was in the spell? So like I said, they were like humoring her and going along with it, but that doesn't make sense. Because especially after what happened with Wanda and they were all trapped in the spell and they supposedly hate Wanda so much that they put the graffitis on like on her house, the thing where it was supposed to be Wanda and Vision's house, and they said evil witch. I'll put the images on the screen. But yeah, they said evil witch and they hate her so much, whatever, and so they just let Agatha go through the same thing. Okay, granted, Agatha was a villain. She was the villain in WandaVision. But I don't think they knew that. But even if they did, like, she was going through the same thing that they were. She was trapped in a spell. So why didn't they help? I mean, they probably couldn't take her out of the spell. But if they told her, wouldn't she be aware and then snap out of it? I'm confused why they went along with it, especially because now they hate Wanda so much. Like, girl. Oh, also, let me just say that I should have said this in the beginning, but the special effects really, how do I say this? I love special effects. I love the CGI, but the way that they made the show so good with only little to no CGI. They have a little bit of power, a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's just a little bit. And even they cast like spells without having like CGI. Like when Teen sent his spell, there was no like magic around it. It was just him saying the words. And so what that does is it gives the show room to explore the characters. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to do a show about the character, I feel like the story is most important. Like in WandaVision. But WandaVision had to have a lot of special effects because the way they did the show with the eras and stuff. But still, they had so much great character development. And now look, Agatha has her own show. So that just goes to show that it was so good that it created another show. Like, what? And so I do love CGI, but I do think CGI should be just for the movies. You do shows to explore the characters, to explore their development, their growth, and then you put them in a movie, and then in the movie you do the big CGI fights. That's what should happen with a lot of shows, because that's the thing. They only have like 8 episodes, and then they spend all the money on the CGI, and then they don't really care about developing the characters. They just want to show powers and stuff. And it's like, you have 8 episodes, and half of them is like fights, fights that are not necessary, but just because they want to use CGI and see, oh, look at this cool CGI on this show, and then the character development is trash. So This and the witch's row being all a set is chef's kiss. And I saw a tweet that said exactly that. I will put the tweet now because I saved a lot of images to show, like, so I can put this in, so I can put it in the video, so I can do, you know, a little bit more editing, you know, trying to do the reviews a little bit more fuller and, you know, dynamic and show a little bit more of the show too. So yeah, going into the next question. So, why did Rio show up? You know, the show is starting, so everything is gonna start happening. Sure. So that's kind of the thing, you know. The show is starting, so things are gonna start happening. Like, because you could have been like, oh, why did nobody came sooner? Because the show didn't start sooner. The show starts now, so they have to do things now. So I do get that part. Because it's like, oh, why didn't Rio come sooner? Why didn't Teen come sooner? Why did they have to wait 3 years? You know what I mean? But one question is, why did Rio show up but she didn't help Agatha? Because she was like, oh, if you want to be in control, you can be. Oh, and then she was like hinting, oh, you have been in Westview forever. And then Agatha was like, no, I haven't. But then she couldn't free herself from the spell, even though Rio was like sending those signals. But also Rio didn't use her magic to help Agatha. And then Teen shows up and he breaks her from the spell. So that, why didn't Rio use her magic to break the spell too? Why was Teen, and why did they appear at the same time? Like literally the same day. Rio appears and then Teen appears the same day. So I do like, okay, I do get that the show is starting, so you're doing the story. But for them to appear at the same day, and they didn't really interact with each other. It was like all separate. It was like Teen with Agatha and Rio with Agatha, but not Rio and Teen. So there's got to be something there too. But yeah, let me see my next question because... Oh, so yeah. Okay. So the next question is, what happened to Agatha's son? So, I mean, obviously the spell and all of the things that we saw Agatha go through in the first episode until she realizes, or until she's free from the spell, they were all fake. So like the police station was actually her house. She was not actually in a police station. So everything was fake. But it was a little bit confusing because I was like, then what parts are fake and what parts are real? Because obviously they are doing the sets and she was actually in a police station because they had to record the scene. But then they record the same thing in her house. So they like switch the footage so that like it combines them together to create that illusion of the spell. Right? Because when she drove to the morgue to see Wanda's body, she was not actually driving, because later we saw that when she said she was driving, she sit on the chair and there was like some things, like it was a fake car. So she never actually drove anywhere. Everything that happened, it was in her own house. But obviously we saw her actually driving and going places where she wasn't. We saw it because that's the way they recorded the show to show us, but she wasn't actually going anywhere. And so the room is like, is the room real or is the room fake? Because I did saw a reaction that they said everything that she saw was fake. So was the room fake or was the room real? Because after she was released from the spell, the house was still there. The house was real. The decoration of the house was real. So did she actually decorated that room and it actually exists? Or if she goes into the room now, it's just empty. But either way, I feel like her son exists, and that was like the trauma because she had that spare room and she like imagined that, you know? And then because she went into that depressive like thing of being a detective and everything was darker, that's why her trauma of her kid came back. And so yeah, that could be it. But I'm interested to know more about her son, obviously. And then we go into the fights. Rio looking amazing. I'm gonna put photos again. I'm gonna put photos. So y'all can see Rio, but y'all probably saw it already, but she looks fucking amazing. And the music when Rio came in was top tier. And it reminded me so much of Zombie Wanda in What If. Like the purr, purr, and that explosion was like such a jump scare. It was so perfect. It was so like impactful. It was not necessary. It was kind of big, but it wasn't like a big explosion with flames and everything. It was just like the impact. Like it was like boom, and it was such a great jump scare because it was like silent and she was like speaking, and then out of nowhere, bah. So I love that so much. And so when they were fighting, she was talking about Agatha, that she hid behind the dark magic of the dark hold and she was invulnerable, whatever. Which makes sense because Wanda in Multiverse of Madness, when she came out of the mirror dimension, she was all broken. So she like broke all of her bones, but then she healed herself. So the dark hold kind of makes the person that's using it invulnerable. And so Agatha was kind of invulnerable too. But now she isn't because she doesn't have it. So my thing is, because also one of the witches, the black one, I don't remember her name. I should have wrote her name down. Also, her earrings were like Wanda's crown. Her earrings were like Wanda's crown. But we'll leave that to the second episode because I have some questions about that. But yeah, she didn't have any magic. They said she was bound. So there was a spell like that doesn't let her use her magic. But they still said that she was like really old. And so I was like, what makes the witch immortal then? Because if Agatha was invulnerable after acquiring the dark hold, it means that she wasn't. So even if Agatha had her powers and she was like a witch and she could use her powers, she wasn't invulnerable. She was only invulnerable with the dark hold and the dark magic. But like as a normal witch, she wasn't invulnerable. And then the other witch that couldn't use her powers, and they said she was bound, she was still like young. And they said that she was like old, like centuries old. So if she couldn't use her magic, then how is she still not aging? You know what I mean? Because the magic, maybe they use a spell to stay young. And so, because even the other witch, the one that Patty plays, they said she was like 450. But she does look older. She looks older. But she's 450. But the other one was also old, but she looks younger. But she couldn't use her magic. If she couldn't use her magic, how is she not aging? Do you know what I mean? Because it isn't the magic what makes you young if she can't use it. I mean, I guess she still has the magic in her, but she just can't access it. So maybe by default, she doesn't age. Or it takes longer to age. Maybe it's something like that, yeah. And so, yeah, then they went to the fight, whatever, and they said they couldn't kill each other. Rio said to Agatha, you can't kill me. And then Agatha said, you can't kill me either. It's not allowed. What do you mean it's not allowed? Because Agatha killed her own coven. She killed everybody in WandaVision. We saw it. So if they're not allowed to kill other witches, then Agatha killed her whole coven. And when we saw it in WandaVision was a flashback. And it was before she acquired the Darkhold. So why did nobody came for her then? She killed her old coven and nobody comes to like get Agatha so she can be punished? But now she can't kill Rio because it's not Rio can kill Agatha because it's not allowed. Like, why is it not allowed? Like, just kill her. What's the problem? But maybe because Rio is a earth witch. So because she is an earth witch and, you know, she probably feels all the living things and she probably can't take a life. So it's not that witches can't kill other witches, is that Rio, because she is specifically an earth witch, she can't take a life. because she's supposed to be creating life, because she feels the earth and the plants and whatever, and so she can't. So maybe that's why Rio is not allowed. Maybe, but that's kind of a reach. So I don't know. So yeah, I'm interested to know about that, why she's not allowed. Oh, and then obviously, why can't Agatha absorb Rio's magic? I feel like that was just for the plot, because I mean, in the second episode, we do figure it out that they need to blast Agatha with their magic so that Agatha can siphon from them. So she can't just siphon it out of nowhere. So if she would have been able to siphon Rio's power, then the scene where they are fighting and Rio uses her powers on Agatha, Agatha could have just taken her powers, and then it's like, oh, Agatha already has her powers in episode 1 because she took them from Rio, and it's like, oh great. So they had to make that obstacle in a way and say that she can't take Rio's magic. A witch that actually attacked Agatha, she can't take her powers. And it's like, in a way, it's kind of convenient because they're not going to give Agatha her magic in the first episode. But at the same time, maybe they're going to develop more and explain. But then again, I feel like it's more because she is an earth witch. And she did say she had like a black card or whatever. So because Agatha is a different kind of witch, maybe the powers work differently. So if she does take her powers, it's going to have like a side effect where it's going to like kill her because they work different ways. I don't know. But it could be something, but whatever. And then the episode ends and we go to episode 2. And the first question I have is, who is Teen then? Is he going to be Billy or is he going to be Nicholas? So is he going to be like Wanda's son or Agatha's son? And so I feel like it could be Wanda's son, Billy. Because it feels like Wanda is trying to reach Agatha so that Agatha would help Wanda. Because I feel like Wanda is going to be on the Witch's Road, and the magic flash that we saw at the end of Multiverse of Madness was Wanda going to the Witch's Road, because that's what Agatha said, and I saw this on TikTok that Agatha said in WandaVision. The Scarlet Witch has no need for a coven, no need for incantation, because she has all the power herself. She doesn't need a coven to access the Witch's Road, so she could have just gone there herself. So at the end of Multiverse of Madness, she went to the Witch's Road, and now she's sending signals to Agatha to go to the Witch's Road and help her. And so the teen could be Billy, and Wanda is using her son. But then I just don't know how it works, because is the Witch's Road specific to a universe, or is it a realm where it's like the multiverse? So if Agatha goes to the Witch's Road, right? They went into the Witch's Road. Is the Witch's Road the realm itself, the place itself, only for that 616 universe? And then, for example, another universe has a different Witch's Road, or is the Witch's Road only one place where all of the multiverse witches that go there, they just go to that specific place? Like, is there multiple Witch's Roads, or is it just one and they all go to the same place? But because they have to because it's specific to every witch, they don't interact with each other. But all of the multiverse witches are there, but they just don't interact with each other because it's like separate rooms, I guess, separate roads, but in the same place, in the same realm. I gotta go see, because I'm not sure if it's like specific. There's a specific Witch's Road to every universe, or is it just one realm? But either way, because Tim can't say his name, he can't say any information about himself. It could be like Mephisto, and because the Wanda's kids were part of Mephisto, he could be controlling Billy because he's the one that has the magic. So we don't need what's the name of the other one? Billy and Tommy. We don't need Tommy because Tommy is like Quicksilver power, so he wouldn't do anything on the show. So we only need Billy because he is the one that has the magic. But the way we saw him, his boyfriend was calling him, and he said he learned magic. So he's been living in that universe, or in a universe, because I feel like if he's from another universe, he would have known, right? But his boyfriend was calling him. He had a phone. So he has to be from the 616 universe. So I feel like he couldn't be Billy. Because Billy was smaller or younger in WandaVision. But maybe Mephisto like grew him up because they grew so fast. So maybe Mephisto grew him up. Or Wanda aged him up in the Witch's Road and brought him back. But she spent the whole Multiverse Madness movie trying to get her kids back. So now she just get her kid back like that easy. So I don't feel like it is Wanda. I don't know. Or it gotta be Agatha's kid. It gotta be. And then Wanda is using Agatha's kid, which he's already in the 616 universe, but Agatha doesn't know it's her son. Because apparently, and I also saw this on Twitter, is that Agatha gave her son away so she could acquire the Darkhold. And I'm also going to insert the tweet here. So she gave her son away to acquire the Darkhold. And then we also saw like the black girl saying, oh, is this another child sacrifice? Because we don't know when she gave him away. We don't know when Agatha actually acquired the Darkhold. So he could be 16. And that explains she gave him away and then he grew with powers because he's the son of Agatha. She's a witch. So he is born with powers. And then someone taught him magic. And now he can't say... Because that's the thing. If she had to sacrifice her own son to get the Darkhold, then that means she can't know it's his son, right? Because whoever she made the deal with to get the Darkhold, they probably made a spell so the kid can't say that he's Nicholas. So if he ever found Agatha or found his way to her, like he did now on the show, he can't tell her because she gave him up so she could get the Darkhold. So it would only make sense that the person that she made the deal with made a spell that makes him not being able to say his name. Or at least to her. Because then that's the other thing. When he was being introduced and when Patty's character, when they were like, when she gave them the list with the names of the people for the coven, she asked who he was, and he was gonna say, but then Agatha stops him, and she's like, "Oh, he's teen, he's my familiar or whatever." She didn't let him speak because she knew that the other witch was gonna see also the spell, and she was gonna know something is wrong. So I feel like Agatha is maybe already knows that he's her son. But she wants to know more about it before she jumps to conclusions. Because she purposely didn't let him speak. Like twice. She didn't let him speak when he was going to say his name to other people. And she was like, oh, he's teen. He's my familiar. He's my secondhand, whatever. She didn't let him speak so that nobody else knew that he couldn't say his name. Exactly. So that's got to be something too. So I feel like, I feel like maybe it's Wanda that is using her son, but someone else is controlling her son or did that spell so that he can't expose himself because she sacrificed him for the book. So now she can't know he's alive and can't interact with him because she made the deal. So now she has to pay the consequences, which is not have her son. So she can't know it's Nicholas. So I feel like it could be that. It makes more sense that it is Agatha's son, but I still feel like Wanda may be controlling him. Yeah, yeah. And then Wanda's house, of course, I already talked about the graffiti. I showed the images. Um, and then, yes, Agatha didn't let Teen introduce himself. This is what I just spoke about. And then, yeah, on the black girl, and this is what I was going to talk in the beginning, but I didn't get ahead of myself. I didn't want to get ahead of myself. Was Wanda crown, her crown. And it was more like similar to the comics. It wasn't necessarily the Multiverse of Madness or the WandaVision crown that she had. The black girl, when we saw her earrings, she had the shape of the earrings are like Wanda's crown. It's really similar. And again, I'm gonna put the images. I feel like I should stop saying that I'm gonna put the images and just put the images. Duh. So yeah, it does look like the shape of her crown. More specifically, the comics. Like the shape of it, because the live action ones are a little bit different than the comics. But yeah, so that was something interesting that a lot of people noticed, especially on the trailer. But now actually watching the episode, it does feel like something to be aware. Maybe it's like just an Easter egg or something, but I feel like that could also be something, because how is that a coincidence that all of this is basically because of Wanda, and then we see stuff referencing Wanda. So I feel like we can't leave that unnoticed, because what if everything is about Wanda? How does the lyric go from Taylor? And everything is not about me, but what if it is? Dun dun dun. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then second to last question is why couldn't Teen be in the coven? And so I guess the coven is supposed to be only women because it's a coven of witches. Technically, he would be a warlock, I guess. So Doctor Strange is a sorcerer because he practices sorcery. It's different than magic. It's magic, but it's not witchcraft. It's sorcery. That's the difference. But he has magic. He has magic like Agatha has magic. Like the other witches have magic. But because Teen's magic is not the same as Doctor Strange magic. So it's not sorcery. It's witchcraft, but in a man. So he would be a warlock, right? But why can't he be in the coven? Why couldn't he sing the song? I guess they needed specific witches to get access. It was the Earth Witch, the Divine Witch, and whatever the other types were of witches. And so because they don't know what specific type of magic Teen has, maybe that's why he couldn't be in the coven or sing the song with them. And another thing that I saw, another theory on TikTok, was that people were saying that Teen was actually the one that opened the door, because when they sang the song, obviously Mrs. Hart, I'm gonna call her that. I think she had another name. I don't remember her first name, but whatever. She's not a witch, right? And Agatha called her for the coven because the person that was supposed to be in the coven was Rio. But Agatha didn't want to call Rio, so she just brought Miss Hart, saying that, she was the green witch. But she's not a witch. So, if they don't have a green witch, and they sang the song, the door didn't open at first. And that's what she said. Just for feedback. The door, it didn't take longer. It didn't take this long for the door to open last time she went to the road. So that's because they had a human singing the song, and they didn't have an actual Earth Witch. And then if you think about it, the door only opened when Teen was coming down, when he was in danger, and the Salem 7 were actually getting into the house. They were already inside. The door appeared, and then when he came down, he was He instantly went to the stairs. He instantly went down. He was like, oh, this is the road, let's go. And it was like perfect timing because it didn't appear at first, but then when he was in danger and they were getting into the house, it just magically appeared. And then he went down. He came down to the basement and then he just went to the witch's road, and it was like so easy. So if he couldn't be in the coven and sing the song, but he can go to the witch's road, because that's another thing. It's the witch's road. So what happens to Teen in there now? He's not a witch. He's a warlock at best, or maybe a sorcerer, but he's not actually a witch. He's not a woman. So what happens to him there? Does something happen? Also, what happens to the old woman, to the old lady, Mrs. Hart, whatever? She's a human in the witch's road. If they said that the road is a death witch and it's so dangerous and they could die, and it's already hard for them because they don't have powers, then what happens to a human in the witch's road? Is she gonna become a witch if she overcomes her fears? Like, if she passes the tests? Like, could she become a witch? Or could it just be something that, like, she just gets what she wants at the end, and it's not necessarily powers, but whatever she wants? Could it be something like that? Like, it makes her biggest wish come true. Or she could die, and it's like, oops, right? she could die. And yeah, that was my last question. What happens to a human on the witch's road? Like, someone also said on TikTok that Mrs. Hart could have a residual magic from Wanda's spell. So the way Monica had powers, she went, that's because she exited the hex and then she went in again, and she had to overcome that layer of the hex, and she had powers. But that's also because she changed her DNA with the magic or whatever, because Wanda was changing reality, so she changed Monica's DNA. She could also have changed or left a little bit of residual magic. And so now, because Mrs. Hart is on the witch's road, she could develop that into actual powers. That could also be a thing. But then that creates another question, because if she does become a witch, what is her purpose? Because she is a side character. What she seems like she's now in the coven for comic relief. So even if she does become a witch, what is the purpose of her becoming a witch? Are they actually going to be a full coven by the end of the show? So like, they actually, all of them will have her powers back, their powers back. Agatha will have powers. The black girl will have powers. Because she has the spell that she can use them. So they're all gonna be like in their full power, and at the end of the show they're gonna like be friends and actually make a coven. And then in the next Avengers movie, they're gonna need like a coven, they're gonna need powers, and so and they are gonna be useful maybe in the movies as a full coven. So because now Agatha only started the coven so she could get into the witch's road. She doesn't really care about them. So maybe by the end of the show, she will like care about them, or just a little, or actually realize that they are all powerful, and actually having a new coven could be a good thing. And then that whole coven could be useful for the Avengers movies. And so that would make sense to make Mrs. Hart a witch, because then they have the full coven. And wouldn't it be funny if Mrs. Hart actually died and became an Earth witch? Because we saw in the trailer that Rio, when she appeared and they were like on the road, and she's like, oh, you're having a party? Because she's the actual Green Witch. And she like was like, all of her bones were like breaking and stuff. So she can also heal. And she healed Agatha's hand She healed the cuts on Agatha's hand. So she can heal herself. And the way she appeared from the ground, from the dirt, she healed herself. So I feel like Mrs. Hart could die, but then she becomes an earth witch and she heals herself. And then something happens with Rio, because I feel like Rio is going to be like a villain. Yes, Rio is going to be like a villain. And then Rio like dies or gets trapped on the witch's road. And then we have the actual new green witch that is needed for the coven. And then we have a witch of every like element or stuff. And we don't need Rio because Mrs. Hart was put there as a joke and comedic relief, whatever. But that would actually be cool to have her like become a green witch. I don't know what the process is, if she can even become a green witch. But they did show the garden in the beginning. She said, oh, did I mention you have a good green thumb or whatever? And that was for like the joke because they needed a green witch. But that also showed that she is good with plants. So she may know some secret potions or whatever. You never know. And because of the residual magic that Wanda maybe left her with, that could grow into a whole thing. Exactly. And then the whole coven helps Wanda get back. And then they could be useful for the future of the movies. So yeah, exciting things. The new episode is gonna be released next week, Thursday. And the day after, I will be doing the review. So stay tuned for the review of the next episode. Let me know what your theories are. Let me know everything. This is going to be a long video, but it is the first and the second episode. So that's why it's going to be longer. Otherwise, I thought about making a separate video, but this is not like a reaction. So if it was like a reaction, I would probably make 2 separate videos. You know, I would get more views. Like, you know, more views, more likes, more comments if it was 2 separate videos. But this is just a review. This is just me talking about the show. So I feel like it's fine if I put them both together, right? That's easier. And so yeah, next week is just gonna be 1 episode, and then the finale is gonna be 2 episodes again. So the next week is gonna be only review for 1 episode, obviously, and then 1 episode until we get to the finale, which is going to be our 2 episodes again. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for the other one. Let me know your theories. Let me know what you think of the show, if you loved it, if you're not. Let me know if you're watching this, if you want. If you are a viewer of mine and you want maybe show reactions, I could possibly do that. But I would prefer to create a new channel instead of, you know, putting on the other one that I already have. Because that's the thing, I already have the subscribers in my channel, so I could monetize my videos. If I were to create a new channel, I would have to wait to get, you know, 1,000 subscribers to be able to monetize the videos. You know what I mean? So if I do make a new channel, I couldn't, or I wouldn't maybe upload the videos like already. I would have to wait to have subscribers to be able to monetize the videos. And so that's why I think it's like, if I put it on my channel, people that are subscribed to me are not going to want to watch it because that's not what they subscribed for. They subscribe for the vocal content. But then if I put it in a new channel, I won't have subscribers. So I wouldn't be able to monetize those videos. So, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot, okay? But yeah, definitely let me know everything in the comments. And yeah, stay tuned for the channel if you like. Even if you just like the reviews, I will keep doing the reviews here on this channel. So yeah, subscribe if you want more reviews. And maybe if you're new here, check out the content that I do already have. Maybe you'll love it. Of course you'll love it. And yeah, the whole video I didn't even mention that Agatha was back there. I needed a place to put her, and that was the only place that I could... Girl, how do I point it? That was the only place... Oh. That was the only place that I could put her, and you can barely see her, but it's fine. What matters is the presence, okay? And the lighting being purple, so pretty if it's the aesthetic. But yeah, let me end the video because I'm taking too long to end the video. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know everything, and I'll see y'all on the next time. Bye.